You did a stint in Libya as well.
Have the best stories.
Oh,
Yes.
man. Please tell us about Libya. This has got to be good. What year was this? And tell us about the time period.
It was Civil War. It was during the Civil War.
Oh,
I actually
goodness.
escaped war. I was in so it was the next year. So that first year was 2009, 2010 was my first year. I did Qatar, Kuwait, and then I actually went back to Qatar for like another semi-league and got some more money in Qatar, and then came home. So that was my rookie year. Then my sophomore year, I went to third league Spain in Guadalajara. I was playing in CB Guadalajara. It was third league Spain. Le Plata. Was having a good season, but they weren't paying. So that's three disputes. So they weren't paying, and they begged me to stay. I ended up leaving. I changed agents. My new agent got me this deal in Libya for five a month, 5,000 a month in Benghazi.
Wow.
He was Al-Hilal, Hilal. Al-Hilal. Went there, was playing really well. It's funny because I was out of shape this whole year, but I was playing at such a low level that my fitness didn't really affect me. But I went to Benghazi and I was having a good season. And I remember watching TV, and I think it was a quick rebellion in Tunisia. Like 2-3 days, it was shut down. Everything was okay. Then Egypt had a long rebellion. I don't know if you guys remember. Egypt had like
the Arab Spring, right?
For sure.
They got the president out of there. They got their president out of there. It was early in the year of 2011. So it's almost a 10-year anniversary of this. And I remember asking one of the guys that worked for the team, I said, is this going to carry over to Libya? That's like, no, we all love Gaddafi here. Everybody loves Gaddafi. And I remember it's only two places that we played. We played in Benghazi or Tripoli. And Benghazi and Tripoli are separated by a big desert. So we flew from Benghazi to Tripoli to play a game. We won the game. We were heading back to the airport. And I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, which is Shaq, Michael Jordan. We wear a lot of fatigue. We wear a lot of fatigue clothing. And back there, I was still young in my frat, so I used to wear a fatigue cap and fatigue shorts, Army fatigue shorts. And so we're on our way to the airport in Tripoli to fly back to Benghazi. And I guess protests had started in Benghazi because the story was that Gaddafi lived in Tripoli and he treated the people of Tripoli way better than the people of Benghazi. So the protest started in Benghazi, and they said that Gaddafi hired mercenaries from Northern Africa, Chad, Mali, Niger, to shoot up the protesters. This is what they said. Who knows the true story, but to shoot up his own protesters. And when he shot them down, that's what really started a rebellion. So that same night, we actually canceled our flights to fly back. We was in the airport for a while. And I remember one of my teammates walking up to me and saying, Shane, you might want to take your fatigue off. And as I'm asking them, why is that? I'm literally taking the hat off, putting in the backpack, and trying to find some shorts to change my fatigue shorts. It said, pretty much you're going to look, mind you, Libya is, real light-skinned Africans, Arab Africans. They say you're going to look like the people that shot up the crowd. So now I'm sitting there like, whoa, so we ended up staying the night in Tripoli, and I was one of my best friends, guy that later will be in my wedding, Kingsley Oguchi, younger brother of Chamberlain Oguchi. I don't know if you know Chamberlain Oguchi.
Sounds familiar.
He played on the national team with me. But so me and Kingsley were there together, and I used to always tell Kingsley when we were in a really bad setup. We never came out. They never moved us out the hotel. They were a really bad organization to begin with. And I used to tell Kingsley all the time, always keep your passport and all your cash on you. Keep everything of value on you when we travel back and forth. Never have something somewhere that you can't just get up and leave when you're in a country like this. You never want to be in a situation where you have to go back for your valuables. He wouldn't listen to me because he didn't trust himself with his own things. Me, I kept my Nigerian and my American passport with me. I kept all my cash that they paid us with me. All my my laptop, anything expensive that I had, I kept it in my backpack. So I was ready to go home. You know, we live in Benghazi. We're living in a hotel Benghazi, but we're in Tripoli. From Tripoli, I can go home. Everything else is just clothes in a suitcase. Nothing important. I don't care. You know, he's like, yo, you know, I remember him stopping me at the hotel lobby, like, say no Mac, man. My American passport is in Benghazi, bro, and my cash is in Benghazi. And I'm like, yo, you idiot. Yo, the American embassy is a 15-minute cab ride from this where we're at right now. So, you know, I couldn't leave my brother behind, man. So we flew back the next morning. We flew back to Benghazi. I remember touching down. It was peaceful. We got back to the hotel and the rebellion took off. Oof. So now we're stranded in Benghazi, Hotel Benghazi for 10 days, man. It was crazy. You know, you used to go to sleep and you would hear the 50 calibers, you know, just going off outside of your window. You can hear them. You know, we never left the hotel, so we were never in full danger. But I think the most somber day was the day when we went downstairs to watch BBC News, and they were talking about how Gaddafi ordered the fighter pilots to fire on Benghazi, the city. And we were in Hotel Benghazi, was smack dab in the middle of the city. And the fighter pilots deferred to Malta. And that was such a somber thing, man, to just feel like, man, your life was in the hands of, you know, just hands of somebody else. We ended up escaping through the HMS Cumberland, which is a crazy story, but you can Google it, man. HMS Cumberland came to Port Benghazi to pick up UK nationalists and EU nationalists and US nationalists. So we were able to get on that naval ship, that British naval ship, man. Everybody was throwing up. It dumped us off in Malta. We flew from Malta to Egypt home to New York. Craziest thing about that, from driving from the city, from the hotel to the port, was we passed some rebels that were acting as traffic control, and they stopped us. He's got the automatic on the shoulder. And he's like, you know, he's pretty much like, where you guys, you know, who do you have in the car? And because we're black Africans, you know what I'm saying? So me and Kingsley are slapping our USA passport on the window, like, and the guy driver's like, Ameriki, you know, and who knows what could have happened if, you know, if they thought we were, you know, Africans. At that time, they were catching all black Africans and they were, you know, torturing them. And, you know, even till later, they were still doing that. You know, stories came out 4 or 5 years ago of just what, you know, Nigerians and things were dealing with in Benghazi. But that was a crazy time for me, man, because you got to understand, I had a lot of failure in high school for basketball, a lot of failure in college for basketball. So this is my second year out, and I've already had 4 failures. You know, the normal man quits. You know, I remember being in a hotel before we escaped, and me talking to Kingsley, and I praying to God, like, hey, you know, not even praying, just having a conversation, like, do you not want me to play basketball? Like, or do you have a different calling for my life? You know, seriously, like, does the universe want me to do something different? Am I going against the grain of my universal flow? You know, and I said to myself, I'll try one more time. You know, I would try one more year of basketball. If it doesn't work, I'm done. Like, at some point, it's insanity. It's not even about perseverance. It's just being stupid.
Yeah. And I mean, I got to stop you here because, like, if you would have quit after being in Benghazi,
I was going to say, the question you're asking yourself, that's a fair question.
Yeah. A lot of people would have quit a lot of things, not just basketball, but a lot of stuff after that.
It is crazy because I was so embarrassed about, just, first of all, who plays in Libya? Like, that's not even cool. Like, what type of person can say, oh, I play basketball in Libya? Like, you don't get no cool points for that. So I remember coming home and not telling anybody what I just went through. It was in the news, everything. People didn't even know I went to Libya. So when I came home, people didn't even know I just got home from Libya. They didn't know what I did to get through it. I had the video evidence and things like that. It was guys that were lying and making money off the story. You know, Kingsley was telling the truth, but he went on Family Feud off the story. And I'm just like, I don't want anybody to know. I'm legit embarrassed about this, you know, but I finally decided, you know what, I'll play one more year, you know, and that was the end of it.
And so this is actually kind of an interesting question. I mean, how long was it before you actually even really told people that you'd been over there and what you'd gone through?
Successful.
When
I started being successful.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So 3 years later, probably about, I would say when I really started to look back on it, because you know, when you push it's just like trauma. When you push a memory down, you almost convince yourself it never happened. You know, you shove it down far enough, you only remember it once every 8 months. I remember the next year they made me do a story about it in Logroño when I was in Clavijo. They made me write they did a story in the newspaper, but it was in Spanish. No Americans found out about it. You know, it was just in Spain, you know, but outside of that, I didn't talk about it again for about 2-3 years until when I was having my EuroLeague season. And my first EuroLeague season in Sassari was the first time people started really digging back for that story. Like, wait, you were in Libya? I proved that I was there, you know, because I didn't record that much because I was in it. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't in it to create memories. I was just there. Like I said, I was embarrassed to be there. But only reason why I even recorded that was just being a goofball. You know what I'm saying? And the funniest thing about that video I sent you is that as I'm walking up to King, you know, I'm walking up to the guy, we didn't know if he was hostile or ally. So I look behind me, like I got the camera on him. I look behind me and Kingsley's gone. Kingsley ran back in the hotel. He's like, yo, I don't, that guy's got an AK-47 on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the good guy is from the bad guy. So I'm sitting there recording the guy and he's talking, you know, and then right after the video's over, I mean, after he's done talking, I'm like, you know, anybody got change for dinars?
Responsibility. Fucking Gaddafi. We refuse Gaddafi. We don't like Gaddafi. We love every national. We love everyone. We love everyone. This country for everyone. I lost 4 brothers. I am stay here for saving Brazilian and Portugal. I lost 4 brothers. In 1 day, in 1 hour, in one time.
Okay, but argue that. That's tough.
Okay. Everybody, goodbye. Goodbye.
You change money. Dollars to dinars. 180. No dollars.
Don't care of Gaddafi.
You know, because my dinar used to be worth $3, but the value dropped crazy. So I'm trying to exchange this money that's worth nothing now. You know, but that's like the random video I have of probably one of the lowest moments of my life. You know, but no, it's about persevering, man. It's about how do you handle adversity? You know, how do you see things through? And then what do you do when you get to college? Because college isn't easy for a lot of people.